Okay, so now I hope all of you have joined. And first of all, let me mute all of you. Okay, so I have allowed you to unmute yourself, but I would prefer if you guys contact me through the chat. Okay, then I will unmute you and you can ask me any question you have so that there is no disturbance between the session. So first of all, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shashan Upadhyay. I have been working with Hackweather for a long time now, and I work for the full stack web development team, and I will be conducting the session from today onwards. So I believe in a previous meeting that was held on, let me see, it was 6th, right? So on 6th, it was 12 p.m. Sorry, I couldn't join that day actually because I was traveling. So my apologies for that. But from today onwards, I will be conducting the session. So on the Monday, let me just share my screen. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible. Okay, so on Monday, Devanshu sir must have talked about a lot of things like how to develop a product as well as how to start building actually a product as well as some basics of web development that are fundamentals of web development. So what I would like to continue from there onwards is that see when you are talking about web development, it is good thing that you are talking about the product building, right? You guys are new interns, so you guys should understand that, but when we talk about development part of the things, so it changes. Things quite change because when we are talking about development, see, first of all, there are two types of development, right? So there are two types of company. First is a product-based company, and second, you must have heard is a project or a service-based company, right? So the difference between that is, so in a product-based company, what we do is there is a product that our research and analysis team finds out that okay, this is our mission and this is our vision, and based on that we have developed we got an idea of a project, right? And that is what we have done. We had a mission and we had a vision. Based on that, we developed a product that is a nutrition food discovery and ordering application, right? So now, based on this application, we also did some another analysis like keyword searches and monthly searches, as well as like what is the competition and what is the user cost that we find out that it minimum if you want to get our user on a website, it is 2 rupees, and maximum it may go up to 18, 19 or even 20 rupees, right? But minimum is 2 rupees. So now based on this, now as a development team, this entire specification will come to me, right? So now our research team job has done. They have decided that we need to create nutritional food app and an ordering app. Whereas in a project or a service-based company, what happens is we get this kind of information from the client, right? But after that part, so we got the information from client, and in the first part where our own research development team has given us a specification, based on that, the development team will start working the project. Now, to build a project, it is not like, we are not going to directly go in the HTML and CSS part where if you have like seen the table of content for this training, then you will know that today we will be looking at the HTML and CSS part, whereas some like setting up environment and introduction part is remaining that I will be covering first, right? But before that, let me give you some introduction to the UI design because after we have discussed, yeah, so nutritional food discovery and ordering application, right? So when I say nutritional food discovery and ordering application, now we have to think like what kind of application will look like, the application that we are building, how it will look like, what features it will have, right? And based on that feature, we will discuss it with our research team, and then they will say, yeah, these features can be implemented in our application, or let us say the development team will say that I can implement these features in the application, right? And after like everyone is happy with all the features and all the like design part, then we will start coding the application, right? So for today, I will first start with like UI design part of the application. Now, when we talk about the nutritional food discovery and ordering application, so first thing that comes to mind is like a nutritional food. If I say, then what you like imagine? Is there anyone who would like to tell me? So when I say nutritional app, then what do you like to imagine? You guys can type it in the chat, or you guys can also raise your hand or give a thumbs up. I will unmute you guys. Okay, quickly guys. Okay, so anyone, you guys can also let me know in the chat. I will wait for like 5 seconds, then we will continue. Even if like you are not having any idea, that is completely fine, because we are building an application from the scratch, and it is not like really easy to think about an application, or let us say start building on application. This is what we called a cold start, right? In let us say we have any application or any product, there is always a cold start where we don't know where to start. Okay, the start is really important. Once we know where we are going to go from starting, then we can go somewhere, right? So if I want to go like to the mall in my city, there is a mall and I would like to go. But when I go out of my home, I can see that there are two roads. One goes from the left side, one goes to the right side, right? So if I don't know which side I want to go, I will never be able to reach my destination, right? But if I, let us say, pick any road I want, and then I ask some people like, okay, is this the right direction or not? Then I will be able to reach that place, right? So definitely, let's start by discussing on the cold start, right? Okay, so for nutritional food discovery and ordering application, first thing that should come to your mind should be vegetables, or let us say fruits. And let us say if I want to talk about imaginative stuff, then you will might be imagining food that has like dew drops or water droplets, or let us say green color or water or blue color, right? So that gives you a feeling of freshness, or I would say like nutritional food or nutrition rich food. Right. So based on that, we will start researching various products that are already available in the market. So let me just take this query and go in Google and search. Okay. So I get some news, or like yeah, so I get some news. Let us say there is also trending application or something. So what we will be doing for the UI, we will see what are the application that are already available. We will do some research, we will analyze them, and then we will try to build our UI from there onwards. So first thing that we can do is, see, we are going to use a tool called as Figma, which will let us like draw application using our mouse and keyboard. It will give us some shapes that we can draw. That is called wireframing or prototyping. So every time we get we get like a product. So what development team does, and in particular not a development team, but the UI design part of the development team, what they do is they start doing the research on the application, and they start building a design on the application based on the research specification or the feature specification that we have got, that we basically call the SRS document, that is software requirement specification document. So based on this software requirement specification document, what we do is we start like designing the project. So now when I say designing a project, so first thing is that any project that you will see. So let us take example of the Google. So you can see that if I scroll down, the topmost part of the like website stays there, right? So it will always and always stays there. And if I go to the very bottom, I get some links that are always there, and it doesn't matter which page I go, those links will be always present, right? So this topmost part is what we call a header. And then if I scroll in and it is sticking, it is always visible. That is what we call a sticky navigation bar. So this part of the application will help me navigate the website, that is google.com. So basically in google.com is a search engine. So if I want to search or navigate, I have to basically enter a search query so that I can navigate to the website, right? And our website also may have a footer. So footer will have basically the feedback and privacy or terms, or let us say any help information that you want, or even let us say if I'm in like currently I'm in Maharashtra, so it will give me some information on that, right? So based on that, we can create like application. We will analyze some of the various UI that are already present, like how they have been created. What are the common like parts of a website or a HTML website that should be included in a modern design that we have. So see, the thing is, previously the design used to be really different. But as the time moves on, there are more designs, and based on the design, we have different HTML tags which are present. So let us say previously we only used to create a navigation bar. We used to name it nav bar in the class, or let us say add an ID of nav bar, so that we can directly jump to that side from the web page itself by using an ID. But what we do is now we have semantic tags in HTML. What they do is they give us a functionality, or they basically let the search engine know that this website's header is there. There is an article, there is a section, and also there is a footer for a particular thing, right? So what that overall thing does is they improve your overall search engine optimization, right? So the SEO is basically optimized using these things. Okay. So let's first click on, okay, so we want a template. So I have a nutritional food discovery and ordering application. Now I will search for template. Okay, now if I click on template, I get a lot of websites, right? So, but what I will do is, if I go to this website, that is free pick. Okay, so the free pick has basically free license that anyone can use if they want. I will click on the free version where I can use these designs for a commercial purposes also. So there are also a lot of websites like FreePic. There is also Pixels, as well as there is the Iconet that I can remember. You guys can search for this kind of application. They are really helpful if you want to get into the web development, because in the web development, and especially a lot of you who are trying to become a UI designer, or let us say you are trying to get into the front end design part of the full stack development or development in general. So this kind of website really help you a lot. Right. So how they help, let us say if I want some kind of asset or some kind of template, or let us say if I want some kind of icon, this websites will help me a lot. Else I have to contact my graphic designer and let them know that I have requirement of this kind of icon, this kind of image, please prepare it. So they will have to do it. But in our cases, what we do is we will basically use this kind of websites that are preparing for they're giving us free access to some of this. We will also cite them, or let us say we will give them in a references, so that we are giving proper contribution towards them. We are spreading their name, right? This is all we can do. But for now, I have clicked on the free tier, and then now these are all the templates that are available for free that we can analyze, right? So let's see this template first. Okay, so this template, you will see that it says food bank, right? So in last meeting, if you guys remember, we started our discussion using food bank, right? So sir has shown you a website of Food Bank Canada, and as well as we went towards that nutrition application and ordering application, and you can see there is some trending food as well as there is food bank, right? So this looks like an ideal template to me. Okay, but if I have to check other application also. So let us say I go to this one. So let's say I have various cart option as well as I have various category. So see, when you are making an ordering application, your research team has to check the demographic of a particular location, or wherever you are trying to make your business. So we are trying to make a business of food ordering application that is in India, right? So in India, there are basically three type of people who eat vegetarian food, other eat non-veg, or let us say some eat mixed vegetarian and non-vegetarian. Whereas in some countries there might be some other type of people who eat vegetarian, but they don't eat dairy products. There are also type of that. So we have to see the demographics, and based on that we have to change the categories of our application. So what we will do doing, so let us say we are in India, so there will be three categories. So let us say in our UI design, what we want to implement. So first should be a vegetarian diet, and second should be a non-vegetarian diet, right? So in the vegetarian diet, we can add veg food, or let us say in non-vegetarian diet, we can add a non-vegetarian food, right? And also, if we are talking about the nutrition application, we have to take care of our design. So let us say we can use a color scheme, right? See, colors are something like, let us say when I'm creating an application, if my application is bright red color, right? So my eyes will not be able to look at it clearly. Some people will not be comfortable with a strong color. That is why a lot of websites are moving towards the dark color scheme. You will see that like Discord being very popular. They started with a dark color, right? Now they are adding some more themes in their website based on the requirement of customer. But dark things are really popular these days. Many websites such as Twitter, Facebook, or multi-million dollar applications are going towards the dark mode because they are easy to use. They also indirectly save the battery of your application. They are good for environment as well as they are good for your overall eyes. Okay, so guys, if you are annotating on the screen, please don't annotate. Okay, so that should not be good if you are annotating. Okay, so second is that, let us say, so now we know that we need categories option. Now in the categories option, if I just say that we can have a navigation bar. So in the navigation bar, when a new user is coming, so there are two type of user in a website. So let us say when you visit facebook.com first time, so what will happen is you will get a login screen, right? So in the login screen, they will ask you to enter your email, enter your name, enter your phone number, or enter your password. Based on that, your account will be created. Only then you will be able to access the website. Second method is that let us say you got a link, and now from that link you can access the website. You can check the content of the website. You don't have to log in. Okay, the Facebook provide although like both of the things. If you have a URL of some application, then you guys can directly see the content of that, as well as if you guys are joining for the first time, you might have to log in. So for our website, what we would like to do is, so let us say if there is a new user who has not logged in, he can view the website, but he
yeah,
should.
Mr. Upadhyay, sorry for interruption.
Yeah.
Please lock all the access because these interns are writing in between so
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
give
yeah.
access to them. Please lock. Whenever they may have question, then they can unmute and they can
Yeah,
talk to
sure.
you.
So I believe whoever has done this annotation, please remove it. Yeah, then I will block the access. Okay, so let me block the annotate on shared content as well as. Yeah, okay. So now I think we are good. I have blocked the access to annotate. Now you guys will not be able to annotate. But so where we were. So basically we were designing the overall UI of our website, right? So in the UI, what we want is we want a navigation bar. In the navigation bar, what we will have is first a vegetarian option. Second, we will have a non-vegetarian option, and then we might also have a search option, right? So, but we may also not have a search option because if I go to this part where we have already discussed it, let us say this, right? So there is no search option, right? But although this is a mobile screen, but even though if there is search option, we can make it responsive and it will be visible. So if it doesn't matter if it has a search or not, but we would like to have it. So we will have to also discuss with our team where we want the search to be visible. Do we want the search to be visible in a navigation bar, or we want search to be visible in a hero section? Okay, but now you guys will be like what I'm saying, like hero section, navigation bar, or a footer or anything so. Just bear with me. I will come to a design that we had created at Hackweather Limited. So what we will do is I will walk you through that design, as well as I will walk you through a wireframe that we had done for a project, that you guys can see how things are designed from the development perspective. So second is that we would like to have a main section where the main section may have the trending food section, right? And then we might have a food bank section, or let us say we might have a calorie counter or some other section that you guys may like, right? That will be the third option in a navigation bar, because the first two option are vegetarian and the non-vegetarian food. Now, because we are changing the categories into two different sections, what we would like is, so let us say someone want to have a veg and non-vegetarian both of the food, they are selecting both of it, then we want to make a common part of our website that should be visible in both categories, right? If I go on a view of say vegetarian and I selected two products, they will go in my say cart, right? So in my shopping cart, And then if I change my view to the non-vegetarian section, now there also will be a card where a user can select food and then he can add the card. At the checkout, we will have all three sections, right? So we will also see how we can do these things, as well as we will see how to limit a action of user using various authentication as well as login. So user will be able to log in one or two view, but he will not be able to access the view that we have secured only for a logged in user. Let us say if we want to buy something, or he had added some kind of item in a cart and now he want to check out, then he must log in, right? So we will also add those kind of functionalities. Now, so what we have concluded is, so for today, what we will do is we will learn HTML and CSS. We will not look too detailed into the CSS. We will follow W3 schools because the thing is, see, when you are a developer, right? So let me share my story with you. So when I first joined the Hackathon Limited, I had to work on a project where I have to use a library called as Chart.js, right? So now if you directly go on YouTube and search for Chart.js, you will realize that not many tutorials are there, or not based on my need, there was not a specific tutorial for that particular library. So a lot of time you have to rely on the documentation as well as textual tutorial, I should say. Let us say if a documentation is provided by the company, or let us say organization who is behind the particular library or a particular technology. So what our the way we will be doing this training is that we will be following this for today only. We will follow W3 School because this is one of the best documentation for the HTML. So we will follow that. We will see how you can navigate the documentation. What are the important things that you should be learning about the HTML. We will basically try to cover a lot of things about HTML, as well as we will have some introduction to the CSS. There are a lot of CSS properties such as background, margins, and padding. We will see what those things are. We will also see how websites are navigating, or how websites are working in general, right? So how the internet works in general, we will also be seeing that. Now then, tomorrow we will be actually creating our website, right? So tomorrow we will have an entire day scheduled for the CSS. You can see that yeah, so okay, so you can see that tomorrow we have advanced front-end development, where we will be talking about the CSS layouts as well as advanced CSS things such as like the selectors, as well as what is the, which has more priority when it's when the browser decide which let us say I am using a class where I can apply blue color to all the text, but I want some of the text to be red color, right? So I can see what is the preference of the browser, what color is browser choosing for a particular element, how we can identify that, how the browser is computing the overall design part, as well as how it is rendering. So when see next time when I say rendering, understand that, and rendering means loading the content on the client website. So I am a client, so this is Trello.com, right? So now I am opening this card. So this entire thing is my client side. I am the client. This is the client computer that I am currently using. This everything is being rendered. Now it doesn't matter if I can't see pricing and resources, they are being rendered, right? And so every time the thing is loaded, we call it that thing it has rendered on the client side, and client can interact with it. Right. So keep this in mind when I say render next time, and you don't get confused showing the some content on the user. So let us say when I say I'm showing some content on the window or a website, then this card will be the window that is currently visible to the user. But don't forget there's this drop down menu, and anything that is hidden is also being loaded to the client side, right? Okay, so let's just quickly go over this part. So today we'll look at the basically HTML. We'll have deep discussion on that. We will also use Figma tool. I will show you how to create basic login form, or we may also create like basic wireframe or a prototype of our application. Then tomorrow we will learn about basically core CSS concept. Today we will learn about the basics of CSS, but tomorrow we will learn the core CSS concept. Then we will also learn the CSS framework. So we have decided to go for the bootstrap, but there is also option for I believe Tailwind is there, and also there are a lot of frameworks that are available, right? So you guys can like just go to Google and then say CSS framework site, then colon, then github.com. You will find a lot of CSS framework that are available. You guys can use any of them, but we will see how to use this kind of framework and why they are important. Then we will see that they actually make everything a lot easier. If you have somewhere like a product where you want to deliver it really quickly, then you might consider using CSS framework, as well as we will see that how to manipulate the this overall design colors or the behavior of this CSS framework from so that we can make it our own. Next, on the day 4, we will look at the basic JavaScript and jQuery fundamentals. So in the JavaScript, what we will see is like how to interact with the overall web application, as well as how to automate some of the stuff that user might have to do. Right. Then we'll look at the backend with the basically we will make our food order application on the day 5. Right. The thing is, because we are leaving the API and database part, so what I will do is I will create a mini project of food ordering application using Django. We will see how to use session, how to use local storage, as well as we will see how to manage our website even without SQL, MySQL. We can use SQLite on that day and create our web application. Then on the day 6, I will first start with the, let us say, case study of an application that we had built using PHP. Because see, the thing is why we are learning PHP again. So we will basically not be learning it, but we will be creating a project. That entire tutorial will be project based. So you will be learning PHP by creating a project, right? So we will be heavily focusing on database, because see, the thing is, databases are really important. It doesn't matter if you are using PHP, Ruby on Rails, you are using Django, or you are using, let us say, .NET or Java. MySQL is always going to be there. Only the way you connect the MySQL is going to change. The table is going to be same. The data is going to be same, as well as any modification in the database that we are doing. The way we do it from the backend will change, but the MySQL is going to be same. So we will be heavily focusing on the database part, as well as we will be looking at some NoSQL databases that such as MongoDB. I will show you how to install the MongoDB, as well as how to work with MongoDB. And then on the day 7, we will heavily focus on the REST API, that is representational state transfer APIs, where we will be creating various REST APIs, as well as we will be testing them, as well as we will be also documenting them. Because see, the documentation is a really important thing. Let us say if you have 10 or 20 developers in your team, right? Now you are, let us say I am working on a navigation bar. There is some other person who is working on the sidebar. There is some other person who is working on the main article, or there is the 4th person who is working on a footer part, right? So now all of us are working differently. Our machines are different. Someone might be working from home, someone might be working from office. So the communication becomes hard, right? So in that, when we have proper documentation that everyone can read and follow, overall development becomes really easy. So we will be also looking at how to document your APIs so that front-end and back-end team can basically work together, right? So now that we are talking about front-end, back-end, so in last lecture, I believe we left that what is front-end, back-end, and overall middleware, right? So front-end is where we show the content based on some kind of markup language like HTML. It may be XML or JSON, or let us say Markdown, right? So these are the Markdown languages. We might be using any of these to show the content to the end user. We might be using CSS, SAS, or let us say SCSS, or Tailwind or Bootstrap to style our entire web application, as well as we might be loading some kind of JavaScript to make the overall website interactive. Just for example, we have this card. If I click on this, there the card opens, right? So there might be some kind of on-click function inbuilt on this card that when a user clicks, I need to show this part to the user, right? So we will be also seeing how to like do this kind of things as well as where let me check. Yeah. So next will be the backend. Backend is basically your database and as well as PHP. In last lecture, I believe sir asked and some of you have also answered that backend is the entire code. So on the backend, whatever code we have, we call it business logic, right? So whatever our business logic is, it will be on the backend. Now the backend will be hosted somewhere, right? So when I say hosted, that means if I have my backend on my computer, then if you want to get access to my website that I'm creating, I have to keep my computer on all the time. That is 24 hours, 24/7, right? Because if my computer goes offline, you will not be able to ping it. Sometimes we say that, are you able to ping a machine? That means we are saying that, see, if that machine is online or not. You must have heard it, because if you guys are from IT, let us say electrical or even mechanical, if you guys have worked with computer, your network administrator in your college or someone might have told that try pinging that server, then you can access the particular study material that is like in the server or somewhere, right? So we will also see how to do that. So what web servers are doing that, so we can borrow a place in a cloud server. We can host our entire database or business logic there, so that as long as server is running, anyone can access our website, right? Now hosting can be different type. So what was happening was in somewhere around 1990s or early 2000, there were a lot of servers, right? So what was happening was, let us say I have a server, I have put it here online. So now anyone can rent their server and place their business logic there and run it. But the problem was there, it was taking a lot of place. So let us say if I have one laptop, I have two laptops, I have three laptops. So now if I want to keep this laptop running, keep those laptops somewhere, it will heat up a lot, right? So what we did was like IBM created VMware. So that was a virtualization machine where we are able to share the server, and now we have cloud services, right? So we will see how to the Django website that we will be creating, that will be mini order website. We will host it on the AWS, that is cloud service. We will see how to host our business logic on a cloud service, how to connect with the remote database, and then how you guys can access it. So let us say after I have done hosting, you guys will be able to go on a URL and you guys will be able to use that website for yourself. Next will be the database and the API. There we will be creating a PHP application where we will be hosting it on a cPanel website. That is a hosting website. You must have heard the name of GoDaddy or Hostinger. We will be checking a free alternative of hosting that is 000 web host. We will be uploading it there. I will be teaching you how to interact with cPanel, how to interact with my PHP admin, because let us say if you are not using cloud, then on the paid version of GoDaddy, you can host the Python or Django website, but on free version, we don't really have access to it, right? So we will be seeing the PHP, that is free version. And as well as if I see more than 70% websites that are currently running on the internet are created using PHP. Right. So learning PHP is an important thing if you would like to work as a web developer, right? No, at least knowing the basics of PHP, because when you will be learning PHP, you guys will be seeing that why Django is actually important, right? Because see, PHP, the thing is, see, PHP made a lot of problem, as well as so all the frameworks that we have are actually to solve those issues. There are also WebAssembly, that is to solve issues of JavaScript, right? So JavaScript has also made a lot of problem that we have. So we have created WebAssembly, so that allows us to use language other than JavaScript to work with the client, right? The tool that we will be using, that is Figma, is also built on top of WebAssembly. You will be seeing that it is really fast. It feels like a native application that I have installed on my system, even though it is I'm going on a website and it is loading everything through the internet, right? So you will be seeing how these things are doing. We will basically see the glimpse of it, we will understand the basic concept, so that when you guys will be working on your own project, you guys will have at least basic understanding of what this kind of things are, right? Second, we will be deploying our website. That is, we will be deploying both. That is the Django that we have created on the AWS. Here, we will be learning about the basics of AWS, like how to create an instance, how to add the DNS, as well as we will see how to buy a domain name, as well as we will see the how to interact with the cPanel and get a free domain name that you guys can get, because domain name may not be possible for all of you to buy it, right? Because it takes some kind of money. So you guys may not be able to buy it. So what we will be doing is we will be going to the free alternative, that is 000 that automatically generates domain name. So if you guys select the project name carefully, then you guys can have a domain name of your name. So let us say I have, my name is Yaschandra Upadhyay, and if I select my project name as Yaschandra Upadhyay, then I will have a domain name of Yaschandra Upadhyay at that Yaschandra Upadhyay dot 000webhostapp.com. Right, so that will be my domain name. Anyone can go to that and access any kind of project that I have built. You guys will also be learning how to interact with the, how to set up actually a remote database and interact with it. Then on the web application and security, we will be seeing like what are the problems with the web application, like basic problems. So let us say there is a DDoS attack that basically happens, as well as there are basic various validation and authorization that we can do. So let us say sometimes what happens when we are creating any kind of input in a HTML and we don't have proper validation. If you guys will try to run JavaScript, right? So that JavaScript will be executed, because the overall your website is actually running a JavaScript engine. So every time it gets some kind of input in JavaScript, it tries to run it. Right, that is the default behavior of a website. We will be saying how to change this behavior so that our website is more secure. Then on the final project and wrap up, what we'll be doing is, so let us say if there is some feature that we have not implemented, or let us say there is some difficulty while creating this project and we are not able to catch up with the schedule, we will try to finish that project here. We will also be building another mini small project that you guys can build along with me, so that you guys can get some hands-on experience, as well as you guys can upload your website, so that at the end of this training, you guys will have your own project that you have built on your own, right? That will give you a lot of confidence, as well as we will be having a Q&A session on the entire thing, on the entire project, where you can ask me any question based on any training you have, as well as you can ask me while training, I will be telling you to research a lot of things, because my goal is not just to come here and teach you some HTML or CSS. Because when I was learning HTML and CSS, that is the topic for today. That is why I will be starting with HTML CSS. So it was really confusing, because HTML is a really vast language, and the documentation for HTML is really hard to learn, really hard to understand the overall documentation that W3C has provided. So we will be going with the w3schools.com, their HTML, and we will be learning from there. What they have done is they have grouped all the tags that are important. So let us say there are heading tag. A lot of you must have know about the heading tag, right? So H1, H2, H3, H4, and H5, and S6. We have those heading tags. So they have grouped it together so that we can learn different type of tags that are grouped together, and it can be easy to understand. Second thing is that they have various, I would say, exercises, right? So when we have exercises, you guys can practice those exercises and improve your overall knowledge of HTML on the day onwards, right? Because trying to learn, or let us say if you are trying to memorize HTML and CSS, that is the most dumbest thing we can do, right? Don't do dumb thing. We want to do smart work. So we just have to understand what a particular tag or what a particular property or attribute does, and based on that requirement, we can when we are creating the website, you will see that as a developer, you will be using Google and ChatGPT or various search engines really lot, right? Even if there are people who are, let us say, having 2-3 years of experience, they are also using Google. Most of the senior who are working in the company with me right now, they also use Google a lot of time. They are searching for it, because see, memorizing all the tags is really hard. And if anyone is saying that they know all the tags, they are probably lying, because HTML is a really vast language. It is virtually impossible to know everything about HTML. There are people who know everything about HTML. They have a lot of experience, but for you guys just need to understand what I will be giving you today. Just understand what is going on, what those tags do, what is the basic behavior of those tags, and as well as how the basic inline CSS works. Then tomorrow we will be working on responsiveness as well as UI design. Now, okay, so I believe overall curriculum is now everyone can get it. So if you guys have got the curriculum, you guys can give me a thumbs up. And if you guys have any kind of problem, you guys are not able to understand like this curriculum, then let me know. You guys can raise your hand. I will unmute you and ask you like what the issue is. Then we can try to work it together, right? So I'll give you 5 seconds. You guys can raise hand if you are having some problem with the curriculum, right? Okay, so I believe everyone is okay with the curriculum. So today, welcome to, first of all, welcome to HTML, right? So see, I will just give a small introduction on HTML, then we will move on to the Figma design that we had. I will discuss it, and then we will come back to HTML and learn the basic tags and everything, right? So first of all, in HTML, so HTML is hypertext markup language. Now, let me give you an example of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So let us say, I don't know if you guys can see it. So I have this book. Okay, so I believe it is getting blurred, but you can see I have written a lot of things, right? So yeah, so there is column number 1, column number 2, column number 3, right? So there are a lot of columns. If I'm writing it on a book, I can basically write it, right? So I can just write it however I want. But when the internet was discovered, I believe that there is some information on this also. Yeah, so Tim Berners-Lee invented WW, and then Tim Berners-Lee invented HTML. So HTML was created so that information can be shared with everyone who is able to access internet, right? So when I am giving some information, I can write it on my book. So you guys are sitting in a lecture, you guys may have a book, you guys are writing everything that is being taught by your teacher in a, let us say you are going to some kind of university. So in your university, professor must be teaching you something, then what you guys will be doing, you guys will be taking notes, right? So you guys can take notes any way you want, but if I want to show it on a web page, so what the issue is, so let me just open my VS Code, then I will show you. Okay, so I have installed VS Code Insider as well as open with code, right? So you guys need to install VS Code stable version, right? Because Insider is like not really stable. There are some issues, but you guys need to open VS Code stable version. So next time anything like we are doing, make sure that we are doing it in a VS Code stable version, right? So because many of you may not have set up your environment, so just to go over, you need to download Visual Studio Code. We will be writing code in the Visual Studio, right? That is a free, I can say a text editor, not an IDE, but a text editor, I can say. Yeah. So in the text editor, we can add various kind of extension. I have not added any kind of extension for me. You can see installed extension are 0, but you guys can move on and do anything. I would recommend some extension. So I would recommend this. If I just search for tag, then you can say we have auto rename tag as well as auto close tag. You guys need to install these tags because when we are writing any kind of tag in HTML, they don't really like a rename. So let us say if I want to change a tag, it is a division tag or a H1 tag, I want to convert it into a P tag. So only the first part of the tag will change, the second part will not change. So that is why we have the auto rename as well as auto close tag. So let us say if you forgot to close a tag, then this tag will automatically close it for you. Second, I would say is icons. So you guys need to install, you can install the material kit. This is a good icon that we can use. So what this will do is, so right now it says like, this, you can see index.html. I hope you guys can see my mouse. So you can see that it has like orange color icon. So if I, after installing this, we can like change the icon, how they look, and it will like, look much better. We don't have to like, look at the extension of a website, like it has .html, right? I don't really have to look at the extension. I can just look at the icon and know what kind of file it is. So that is why we will be using it. So that's it, material icon here. We can say that this has changed. This is actually official logo of HTML5, right? Okay, so let's close it. Now, if I open a index.html, and also I suggest you to open with so you need to install this extension also, that is live server. Other than that, I am not recommending any more extension for you guys. Okay, you guys don't need any more extension. This will be okay. We can like complete entire project as well as complete entire training using only and only this kind of this 4 extension that we have. Right. Okay, so after this has installed, so let me open the index.html.
Yeah, excuse me, sorry for interruption. These students are new, so could you please note, let them know how they can install this VS Code and all these things, because they just completed 4th semester, so they're
Okay,
not
okay.
asking. Yeah. So
Okay, okay. So yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So let me open first because I have already installed it. So what I will do is I will create a Windows sandbox and then I will install this in a Windows sandbox so that you guys can see how to install VS Code in a Windows environment. Because see, the difference between Windows sandbox and Windows is like virtually none. It is just clone of my operating system that I have, right? So that the procedure will be same. It is same from both Windows 10 as well as Windows 11. Even if you are using Windows 8.1, you can follow the same procedure. Please don't use Windows 7 as it is already like, not in security. It is not getting any kind of security update from the Microsoft itself. So don't use Windows 7, I would say. As you can see, like even though this wallpaper is different, but this is the default wallpaper. If you guys have used like Windows 11, you guys will know that this is the default wallpaper. So let me say downloads and so if I just go on any browser that I have, so I currently have Microsoft Edge. Okay, so you guys can see this screen, right, that I have in here. So if I go to Microsoft page, I just need to say download VS Code. So I will be going to code.visualstudio.com. Okay, now there is a deb package for any of you who is using Linux. You guys can download deb or RPM, or if you have any package manager, you guys can directly say like package manager install, and the name of package is basically code for this. And if you are on Mac OS, you guys can get this CLI option as well as this. Basically, CLI is, I believe, you will be able to install using some kind of CLI tool that you have, any package manager you have. So for Windows, I will be clicking on Windows. Now Windows is installed for 8, 10, and 11. So now you guys can see that download had started on the right hand corner of the screen. So let me just take a moment to download it. Now there is also alternative of Visual Studio Code. If you guys are comfortable with the Notepad++ or Notepad, or let us say Sublime Text, You guys can also use that. You guys can also use Atom that is not in development right now, but it is also a good text editor. Second is you guys can also use a fully fledged IDE. So, sir, after the session is over, go on. I would say, what I can say, jetbrains.com. So there you can find the IDE name for the like PyCharm or WebStorm, as well as like there are also other IDEs, NetBeans or something, right? So you guys can also use that, but you guys have to see how to set up those because those are your preference. Right now, VS Code is most preferred text editor. More than 70% of developer on any survey you go to that survey, you will see that more than 70% are using Visual Studio Code. So we will be following this code. So if after this is open, I will just have to click on open files. Just let it load and then yes. Okay. Now click on accept agreement. Click on next, next. Now this is the download location. You don't need to change it because VS Code sometimes what it does is it creates some of the documents or some of the directories by itself. So if you change path, sometimes there are some problem like if you are using GitHub Copilot, there might be some problem that it will not be able to install or like create some of the files. So please install it like just on the default directory. They like only takes like 300 minutes. Click on next. You can select if you want to start menu or not. I do want it. Then if you want a desktop icon, click on it. Now, most important part. Now, actually, it is a good thing that I did show you this installation part. You have to click on open with code. Now, you can see that previously when I was creating the project, when I went to the folder, I did a right click. After clicking on right, I had an option open with code, right? So you will get that option only if you click on this option. Then you have to click on next. You have to click on install. Just wait for the install. See, it can say extracting file and creating directories. After this is done, your VS Code will be installed. Then basically you just need to install those 4 extensions that I have told you. Extension number 1 was auto close tag, as well as I believe it was auto rename tag, then live server and icon theme so that it looks good. Okay. The icon thing is completely optional. It is just my preference that I do it. So you guys can also do it if you want. Just let's wait for it. I have. And second application that I would recommend you guys to download it. If you have like limited connection, then you guys can download it previously before we proceed. Like on the day we will be creating a Django project, we will be needing a MySQL bench as well as Python. You guys need to download a Python, and when you are installing the Python, just click on add to path. Even if you have not clicked it, you guys have to see where the Python was installed, add it on the environment setting. So I see it says launch Visual Studio. I will click on finish. Now it will launch Visual Studio Code. Now I'm in sandbox, that is why it is taking some time, but when you are using it on a native machine, it will not take this time. So now see the Visual Studio Code is open. Just go on this extension tab. And now I can just search for icons that I had searched previously. Then I can just click on install and it will be done for you guys. So I hope the installation part is now done for VS Code, and you guys can just follow the same thing that I have done for the extension installation, right? So I will stop this. Okay. Okay, so I hope everyone is now know how to install it. This recording will be available on YouTube. You guys can again follow it if you want next time. So for now, let's go to this. See, I have installed Python as well as I have installed MySQL Workbench, right? So MySQL Workbench is to, if you want to interact with the database, then we can use a GUI tool such as MySQL Workbench to interact with the database. Else, what we have to do is we have to use the CMD. So on Windows, it is called CMD. On Linux, it will be called terminal. And also on Mac OS, it will be called terminal. So if I go to this command line, CMD, so I can use shell to interact with MySQL. So that is also possible, but just download the MySQL for now. I will show you how to install it on the day 5, where I will be showing you the Django part. Then for the day 6 and 7, just install the XAMPP server. We will be also using this. This is actually a server. It gives you access to Apache, which is able to run the business logic as well as serve the business logic to end user. Right. So just install it. It is around 150 MB. If you have limited connection, you might consider installing it right now when you have internet. And then on the other days, you guys can just install it when I will be telling you. You will be also using this application to install it on cPanel or AWS to host server or website to end user. Second is you guys need to install this Postman. So just download it. I have not installed it. Okay, I will install it when it is needed. Then for now, just download the Python and install it. Right. So I will show you how to install Python again on the when we will be learning about Django. Okay, so we had session. Yeah. Okay, so now I believe you can see that I have created, so I will just create again. Yeah, so if I click on the new file, I can say index.html. Now I have a HTML document. Now, if I just write anything, like I would write on my notebook, or let us say I will write on this book. So what I can say is that, say the verse 1, right? Or say I can add tabs, or say I can see so any of you don't know, if you want to get let us say some kind of dummy test, right? So sometimes we don't know what to write on our website as a developer, because the research team will tell us later what needs to be there in our heading, what needs to be there. So what we can do is we can just use a dummy text in Visual Studio Code. Specifically in the Visual Studio Code, we have this option where you can type lorem, LOREM, and then number of words you want. So let us say I want 7 words. So if I click on it, I have 7 words, right? Then I can say if I want a paragraph, in 56, then I have 56, right? But before that, there is also one more setting that I will do so that you guys can easily see it. I will stop the and as well as I will include the zoom so that I can zoom in and you guys can easily see this. Okay, so now you guys can see everything. I hope that everything is visible now. Yeah. So now I have this heading that is verse 1, and I have this heading that is loading, as well as I have this text, right? Or let us say I can add one more. So by let us say this. Okay, so if I save it and then if I try to open it, I will open it in Firefox. Okay, so the thing is, see, I had given tabs here as well as here as well as here. So why it didn't appear on the screen? Is there anyone who can tell me why this was the thing? I tried to write it and I have written it however I want, but I was unable to get my expected result on the web page. Is there anyone who can tell me? You guys can also write it in the chat, as well as you guys can raise your hand, right? And if you don't know anything, like you are totally beginner, I will walk you through from the beginning, right? So I will wait for 5 seconds. Let's see if there is anyone who has some idea of HTML. Else, I will start from the very beginning, right? Okay, so I believe no one, everyone is not like new to HTML. So what is happening is that In HTML document, every time we have tab or spaces, let us say I have 10 or 15 spaces, I have 10 spaces, or let us say I have 25 spaces. It doesn't matter. HTML document will always treat it as one space, right? So if I give 10 space, it will always give one space. Now remember this, it is important. Second thing is that we need a tag, because the problem was when the internet was developed and they wanted to share any kind of document. The problem was when they used to write anything, it wasn't like really going the way they wanted. User was not seeing the way they wanted. That is why we have HTML tags. What the tags will do, they apply some basic formatting to the text any text you have. So let us say if I just remove it and if I just click on Shift and 1, that is exclamation mark, in the VS Code, you get this an emit abbreviation where it will give me a template for writing HTML. Okay, if I click on this, now you can say I have some tags, right? So let me just walk you through. If I just zoom in, okay, so now I believe it is really visible. So you have doc type HTML. As I said, there are many ways to transfer data on the internet. There is HTML, there is XML, as well as there is Markdown, or let us say JSON format. What we are telling is, we are telling our JavaScript engine, the web browser that we have, that this document is HTML. The type of document is HTML. Specifically, the type of document is HTML5. Right, because we are using the version number 5, which is the latest as well as the most you can say modern HTML, right? So after declaring the HTML tag, now in the tag itself, if I just go, so there are like two type of tags basically. So if I say opening like arrow bracket, and then I can give tag name, close this, then because of the extension that I had, that was auto close tab, you can see that my tag was already closed, right? But there are, I can write anything I want. So okay, so tag name is not like it is not a good tag name. It is just a dummy tag name. That is why it is not working. But let us say I can say this is a tag name, right? And then I can just write it. See, the problem with HTML is that even if I say that tag name, this is a tag name, right? That is the problem with HTML. It doesn't really, because we don't have anything in body, it just printed this is a tag name, even though this tag doesn't mean anything, right? So we will be seeing how to deal with this kind of problem, as well as we will be like seeing, see, when I don't have a proper tag name, I have tag name which is not a good tag name. It is not an official tag name given by the specification team of HTML, right? So it is just giving me like a text, right? But if I say that H1, now you can see I changed H1 here, but it also got changed here. That is because I installed the extension auto rename tag, right? So if I say and click on this and press F5, you can see that formatting has changed, right? So that is why we have tags in HTML, tag in HTML. What the tag will do, if any kind of document will have, that tag will format that document so that if I want to say that this is a heading of my whatever document I am trying to do, other user will also know that this is bold text and this is a heading, right? For then we also have CSS. So let us say I don't want my heading to be red color, right? So what I can do is I can say this and then say style, then say color red. Now this is what we call an inline CSS. Okay. Now see, it might be confusing for now, but just bear with me. I will give you an example for it. This is what we call inline CSS. Now CSS was there because let us say if I have this tag and then I have another H1 tag which says the H1 tag, right? And if I press OK, see, because I don't have any kind of style, what is happening is that it is just printing H1 like it will do normally. but because I have style here, it is changing. So that is why we have CSS. It can change the style. It can, I should say, override the already existing formatting. Whatever formatting HTML have by default, we can override that and make it our own using CSS. Later in the video, when I will be teaching you about the layouts in HTML, you guys will see how CSS can make it much better later on. Now, coming back to my example, I have this book, right? So I have written anything. So let us say I was able to write my words one, right? So let us say I have this H1, the words, and then I can say H2. I can say four for that for to get 4 random words, and then I can say P tag, that is a paragraph tag, right? Just a simple paragraph that you may find in any book. 56. Okay, now I have this, right? But again, it is not in center like how I wanted. This is also not in center, but it looks like there is a lot of space between verse and body. So what we can do is we can use CSS to make it look good, right? But what I will be doing is, because I want to, like, we have limited time, what I can do is I can use Bootstrap. So go to get Bootstrap. Just search for get Bootstrap. It will give you a class that you can use directly. Right. So if I have this, now I can do this. If it says hello world. Now you can see that I have H1 tag, right? I have other tag also. We will see what they are later as we go in the training. Don't worry about that. But for now, just focus on what you already know. You know about the H1 tag, right? So in the H1 tag, you can see my H1 tag will look different. This H1 tag is different. The font is different. The size of font is different, as well as the color is different. I have an inbuilt color picker. If I just go, it says instead of black color, I have dark gray color. Also, the overall hex color is 262529. I believe everyone is familiar with the hex code of a color. If you have studied physics, you guys should know about what is the hex code. Hex code is basically the numerical or hexadecimal representation of any kind of color that we have. In HTML, we have more than 140 colors that are I can say available in the HTML by default. We can use any one of them. So dark gray being one of them, you can say that instead of black color, we have dark gray. Now, this was provided by Bootstrap, which makes it really easy for me to style my overall application. But I can also say, let us say I have H1, and then I can say the verse, and then I can say H2, and then I can say 4, and then I can also say I'll just put it in a container for now. We will see what are containers, how to contain your overall website. So let us say I have one part of the website, how I can add it in a particular space. Or let us say if I want to say separate that particular content, I want to apply a different kind of style to that content. How we can do that, we will see it tomorrow when we'll be looking at the core CSS concepts. So for now, just see this. If I say now, instead of at the left hand corner of the screen, there is some kind of space in between. We will see what this space is later, just after this text. So right now I have the words and then I have some text. I can also change the text. That is, let us say if I add class 1 for the H1, or I can add H2, as well as I can say text center. Basically, I want to center my text. See, the text is now centered. Then I can say data list, so say DL, and then I can say DT 56, and I can also say ed. See, now I have it in center, as well as you can see I have some text and then I have this, but I can also change it. Let us say if I have this part in. Okay. So now I have my entire text like this. I can even change the, the space between this. So if I say, see, space is there. Now, you guys will be confused now that how I was able to do all of this, as well as you guys will be wondering how you can do these things, right? So using HTML and CSS, we can basically make our entire website or our web page however we like, right? So I can just define what my content should be, as well as how it should be visible. And let us say if I have this book and I want to change the page, see, I can just use my hand, change it, right? The page has been changed. But the thing is, if you want to get this interactivity on the web page, we have to use JavaScript. In the JavaScript, we have DOM manipulation, that is document object manipulation. How we can manipulate the document. This entire page, starting from this white background color to the end of this whatever we have, this part is called as document. Right. In the web development, whenever I say document, that means this current web page. Please remember it. You guys can also note it somewhere that current web page is the document when I'm referring, as well as note down the render means loading it to the cloud website, right? So we will be seeing how we can use this, how different HTML tags work, what are the basic core HTML tags that you guys should know. And then tomorrow I will come over this what I can say example, and then I will show you how you can do it from your side so that you guys will also able to do it. So for now, let's go to W3 School HTML. Just search it on your side also. Okay, so although this recording will be there, what you guys need to do is you guys go to Google, search W3 School HTML. Just click on this first link. After going to the link, you guys will be able to see this HTML introduction. But before that, remember I said that we will be looking at the design that we already have. So let me do that. Okay, see, I have this web page, right? So in this web page, you can see I have created a form. Okay, so how we can create the form? Remember, in HTML we have various tags. So in Figma also we have this, right? So in my sidebar you can see that I have different option, right? So I can click on it, and then we can see that the change, I can say focus changes. So if I click on this, now you can see that this text has been selected. If I click on this, the label has been selected, right? So we will not be focusing on this lot for today because we want to focus on the HTML part for today right now. Okay, but tomorrow we will be looking at how you can prototype your entire website, as well as we will be creating the front page of our website, that the project that we have selected, that is food ordering application. We will be creating it tomorrow, but for now just focus on the development. I just wanted to see this because I have said that we will go through it, but I believe it is already 3:30, so I should cover the HTML part so that you guys will have some kind of exercise that you can practice on your own after this training session. Okay, so just go on the HTML introduction part. Now we are using W3 School because they have written this really beautifully. This is like a notes so that you guys don't have to create your own notes. You guys can just go through this and then read it like how you will read your notes after a lecture. So first we can see that HTML stands for the hypertext markup language, as well as it is standard markup language for creating web pages. Right. So for creating any web page, this is the standard markup languages. Although there are other languages also like XML that we have seen. HTML describes the structure of a web page. So if I just come back, you can see that I have seen doc type. Now you can see previously my doc type was everything was in the capital letter, but now it is in a small letter. So it doesn't matter. The tag can be on any case. It is case insensitive. It can be smaller case or like capital case. It doesn't matter if we'll read it like how it will be. It doesn't matter if you are using capital H1 or H1. It will be heading 1, right? Then for the structure of HTML, we can say that first of all, what we want is doc type HTML. This will define that this document is HTML. Then we will have header tag, right? So head tag is self closing tag, like it can it needs an opening tag as well as a closing tag. But there are also tags like I can say image tag, which doesn't close, right? But what happens is if you open a new tag, that is p tag, this tag will basically close itself. That is called a self-closing set or self-closing tag or a self-containing tag, right? So for now, let's focus towards the head part. So the head tag is basically what is a metadata of a website. So if I go on any website, so let us say if I go to google.com, and now see, if I say news, right? Now I am showing any kind of news. So if I click on this news, it says Rajya Sabha polls live update EAM Jay Shankar files nomination paper and then ... So if I just click on it, you will see that I have this, right? So I have this page. So all of this information, right? So this information that we have. Yeah, Rajya Sabha polls. You guys will not be seeing this in like, this web page because this is a metadata. Like this is giving information on our search engine that we have. We have a search engine that is Google, and we are giving those information to the search engine itself so that it can basically index our website on a search engine. Okay, so this is the metadata, and this metadata will be in the head tag. We basically have a tag called as meta, where I can give different kind of meta. So let us say, if I say meta, you can see I have edge, redirect, refresh. So if you go on a gmail.com, you will see that your overall email refreshes after some time, right? So that is how it is able to know that what are the new emails you have got. Every time you have opened a Gmail, you will realize that after 10 seconds, 15 seconds, your website refreshes by itself. So we can do that by using meta refresh, but it is not recommended. We can use JavaScript, that is much better. We can also redirect, as well as we can share the UTF information. So most of the documents you can see are on the UTF-8 encoding, right? So you can also define that, as well as we can define the viewport. So we will see what they are shortly. So just know that head is metadata. End user as a client, that when I'm visiting your website, I will not be able to see whatever information is there in a head tag, except two information. First will be title tag, and then another will be I can say link or icon tag. I don't recall the tag name because we don't really use it, but there is an icon tag that you can see this G that on the top at topmost part of my screen, where basically your camera is for the laptop. You can see there is title, which is news, Google search, and then it has the G icon, right? So this icon is called as fav icon, and this text news hyphen G Google search is called as title. This information is visible to the end user. Other than that, no other information is visible to the end user, right? So this is the head text, as well as now what information is visible to the user. And if there is a information that we would like to show to our user, what it will be. We want to have body tag. In the body tag, I will have all the information that I would like to show to the end user. So here, if I say H1 tag, and then this is body, I want to render it to client to machine, right? So if I say this, I will go here, F1. So it will say that this is icon. I want to render to client to machine. But if you are just writing anything, I have written icon, right? It is, even though it is in a head, but the HTML start reading from application from top to bottom. So whatever is written at the top, and if it is not able to know what this is, because I have just written icon, there is no tag and nothing, it will just render it on the client. That is why you have icon. So keep this in mind that if there is any text that you want to show, let us say if I want to show this icon, this, then I can write it, it will still be visible, but it is in the body tag, right? We can do this kind of thing also. So this is the basic structure of HTML, where we first define doc tag HTML, then we define the head tag. There is any title, there is if let us say I have any fav icon, okay, on let us say if I have any other metadata for my website for SEO tools, right? This will be visible here, as well as if there is any CDN, right? So we will learning what is CDN when I will be teaching you about the cloud, because see, CDN is, let us say, what I can say. Let us say your mom is cooking food for you, right? So when you go to kitchen, you will be staying at the kitchen doorstep, right? And your mom is at the kitchen counter, she is cooking something. But every time you want salt, right? You like to have more salt in your food. So what you will do is, instead of telling your mom to add more salt, she will give you a box of salt that is like, let us say, placed near you, so that you can grab it quickly, right? So instead of calling your mom to give me a salt, and instead of grabbing it from a nearby place, which is more faster, grabbing it from nearby place is more faster, right? That is why we have CDN, that is content delivery network. Sometimes when we have created the JavaScript loads and works on a client side. That means we want to load it faster, even though internet is really slow. So we use CDN servers. We upload our static content, that is images, videos, or something on CDN, so that it is sent to the user quickly. Because if my server is in US and I am sitting in India, it will be really slow. If you have used VPN, like any kind of VPN service in Opera, there is built-in VPN, you must have used it. So if you go on a VPN, if you are connected to a, let us say, UK server or a United States server, your internet will be really slow, right? That is when we use CDN. We are using a nearby server to load some data only, like limited amount of data instead of entire data, right? So we also give that information here, as well as preferably what we do is, at the bottom of my web page, like just below, I have closed the body tag. I would like to have my JavaScript code. Or basically, I should say, link my JavaScript code. And if I have any kind of CSS code, then I would like to link in head tag, that is head tag. Load CSS, it will be faster, right? Now, why we are loading the CSS in the hashtag and JavaScript at the bottom? Sometimes when you want to interact with your web page, you want to make sure that web page is loaded completely. If it is not loaded completely, the JavaScript code will not be able to find that particular element, then it will not work. That is why we are loading the JavaScript at the very end. As I said, the HTML web page loads from top to bottom, but we want to style our website as fast as possible, right? So the moment I go to any website, I don't want to see not unformatted website. I want to see a beautiful looking format website, right? So that is why we are loading CSS faster, as it is loading from top to bottom. Head loads like first, so my CSS will be applied to all the elements, right? So this was the basic structure of HTML. I believe you guys now know. So this was like consist of series of elements that we saw. Basic structure are doc type, and then the head tag, as well as the body tag, right? Then like elements tell the browser how to display the content. Now, if the content has to be at the center or something, or the content is a heading, or content is a paragraph or article or a sidebar, this information will be told to the browser via the HTML, right? So that it can render it correctly. Then there are some element that are such as heading, paragraph, and a link tag. So this was the basic. You can see that it is also written, although the like this is a really short explanation, but you guys can like read it as a notes. It is also there like tag name, content goes here, and then like you can see that there is a BR tag, that is break tag with first element, then end tag, there is no end tag, right? You can see. Now let's move to HTML basics. I believe we have already covered this part here. That is, heading is from H1 to H6. So if I just click on try for yourself, that is why I wanted to use W3 School, because I can basically like run this website on the front end itself, so that you guys can see it. You guys, even if you don't have like VS Code, you guys can run it for yourself today itself. So there is heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. You can see that. And if I let us say change some kind of content, let us say from this is heading 2, I want to say heading 1, and if I run it, you can say that it is changed to heading 1, right? So basically from heading, let's move on to the paragraph. So basically just like heading, the paragraph is there, but paragraph is like there is no basic content by itself. There is no formatting. It is just that however you have rendered it, it will render by itself, like however you have written it. But there is one twist in the paragraph. What you can say is, so let us say if I have this p tag, and if I say this is p tag, and if I say enter, and now I can say this is next line, and now this is on the next line. The p tag is also closing on the next line. If I run on it, the p tag, and this is I have like made some spelling mistakes. So next line, it is rendering on the same line. It is not going on the next line. Why? Because as I said, it is not actually considering it as a new line. It is considering it as a long space. So what it is doing is, it is I can say that it is minimizing all the space to one space only. But if I want to have this line at the new line, I have to tag BR tag that we have seen in the previous tutorial. So if I say that, then it is on the next line. That is a BR tag, that is a break tag. Like, you can add a break to somewhere. And there is also a tag that can let you go on new line, or if let us say you are saying that, sir, the problem is that I want to have spaces. I want to have 4, 5, 7 spaces, but HTML is not letting me render those spaces. Then what I can do? Then what you can do is you can use PRE tag. If you have PRE tag, I can say like any gibberish, and then say go to next line, add spaces, add this, and then add all those space, and then close the PRE tag, run it. You can see that there is spaces, right? It is rendered as spaces, as well as it has rendered the cross cut. But don't use the PRE tag. We use PRE tag when we have a code, or let us say I want to show the how the Python code looks like. Then I will use the PRE tag. Right. So let's move on to the other tag. There is also link tag. So what we do is, so try this. Okay. I have this link, right? So if I say this is a link, and if I click on this link, then you can see that website has loaded in this particular window, right? Give me a second. Yeah. So you can see that this is my entire window. As I said, this particular tab is my window, but there are also tags which let you change the overall window. You can specify where your window will be, as well as where your content will load. That the name of that tag is basically iframe. Right. So I have written it, although okay, so on website, yeah, see, I have written this right, you can see the iframe. See this iframe. So you can use it to load a particular website. You can create your own frame. You can create your own window. All right. So yeah. So you can create a link. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so you can create a link as well as every tag has a particular, I can say, attribute, or let us say, I can say at property. This A tag has href, so you can say as HTTP and then the link of website, but I can also have target. So where this website will open. So if I say target, and then I can say double inverted comma underscore blank, and if I run it, now I can open this on a different tab, right? So this will open on a different tab. But if I want to open this on the same tab, I can say underscore self in the self window or self frame itself. So I can run it. And if I click on this, it will open in the same frame itself. So this was a tag where you can create a like link. As well as we have images. Again, images also have some of the properties, which has width, which has a height, as well as an alt tag. You will see it. So in image, I have this W3 school logo. That is an image. You can see the source, that is SRC is basically source, is given by w3school.jpg. And there is an alt which says w3school.com. So if there is some problem with my link, I have closed it, run it, it says W3 school. This alt is also important. So as a web developer, there might be times where your user cannot see, like, there is a like vision problem or a hearing problem. Then you can have this alt tag where the screen reader, you see, like in browser provide you like, text to speech functionality where you can read a website. There images cannot be read, right? So it will basically read the alt form, right? So it is important from the screen reader. Second is width and height, like what would be the width and height of an image. So if I wanted 104, I can also make it 500. See, it has changed the height and width, right? There is also a way to do it using the styling, where I have shown the inline styling, right? So style tag equal to and then width and 500 px, so that will be pixel. Okay, we have, I believe we have already covered this part. We have also covered the attribute part, as well as heading part and paragraph part, as well as style part. Now, HTML formatting. Now, for formatting, we have some tags. Let us say, if I say try for yourself. Now we have a paragraph and we have this B tag. B is basically bold tag, where we want to emphasize some information to the user, where we want to specify that this particular text is bold. Or I can also say that, let us say instead of this text, what I will do is, I will write it like outside the B tag. So if I click on OK, then you can see that this text is not bold, but this is bold, the particular information that I have. Now, this is what we call inline element or a block element. So there are two type of element. So if I have the div tag, this is the block level. And I can say, so I have another div tag. This is block level 2. If I run it, you can see that it was like this is block level 2 was printed on the second line, because this div is taking whatever space it has completely. So this entire row is like, taken by this particular div itself. But if I want to make sure that this block level and this block level 2 are on the same row, then I can use span. This is, and then if I say close the span, and then I can reopen the another span, text span, and then So this is text is printed on the same line. This is called inline element and the block level element, where sometimes some elements, so let us say p tag is a block level element which take entire row, right? And span is only taking the space that it needs. Now this is important. So in previously we had shown the a tag, that was the link tag, where you can make a link of website. When you are writing something, you would like to have a link in a paragraph, right? So in that paragraph itself, I don't want my link to be on next line. So what I can do is I can use a tag, which is inline tag, and print it in the same paragraph, right? But sometimes when I have different paragraph, I want it on the next line. So that is where P is block level, whereas A is inline element. In the W3 school, you can see there are also like, somewhere here, there is also so HTML block and inline. So these are all the block level elements. That is address, DL. DL we have seen, I used with the Bootstrap to create that citation like thing, like where it looks like it was written in the book, right? So it was used DL, that was a list. H1 and H1 to S6 are also block level. OL is also block level. Video, paragraph, pre tag that we have seen, and various other tags. We will see what they are in the future. So we can see that all div tag we have seen, they are all block level element. Whereas A tag, button, abbreviation, code, as well as let us say what more, BR tag, input tag. These are the tags that are inline. So it will like not take all the space on the particular row. It will only take space that it needs. Coming back to formatting, we have B tag. So it is again you have to close this tag. When you close this tag, it will bold the text. The strong text is basically for the important text. It tells the browser that this is an important text. Let us say if your browser is using some kind of text summarization, it will let the browser know that this is an important text that should be included in the summarization. Second is italic text, where in a word you must have seen you can italic some text, right? So that is italic. Second is emphasize. If you want to emphasize, you can use EM tag. Again, you have to close this tag. If you want to, let us say I have selected this text, so now the text color is white and it is background is blue. If you want to make sure that some text is already looking like that it is selected, or you can from a highlighter you can mark a text on your book. If you want to get that feeling, you can use mark. Again, this is an inline text. There is also small text which reduce the size of text, such as author name sometimes is smaller than actual text, so you can use there. There is also delete text, where you want to make sure that there is a strike through. In Microsoft Word, you have strike through. Like if you click on that, then it looks like that someone has crossed that word. You can use that by delete. You can also use inserted text as well as subscript and superscript. You can see like in math you have x squared. So if I want to make a superscript, you can use SUP and SUP. So let's see how it looks like. So B tag is, if I click on try on yourself, it will say you have big tag. It says this text is bold. And then if I say strong, now you will say there are no changes. Only changes it will be that it is providing different metadata to the browser. There is also I tag that we have seen. It will italic the text. Now you can see that text is being italic. Now again we what we have, let us say superscript tag. Yeah. So if I say now it looks like it is on top. So basically what I can do is, yeah. So now you can see bold is at the bottom, it is taking entire line, whereas this text is only taking only half part, the upper part of the line. I can also use SUV for the subscript. Now the text is taking the half part, that is down part, below part of the line, whereas bold is taking the entire line. We can try out for the important is again, sometimes we want delete. Now you can see that this text is being crossed out, whereas bold is not being crossed out, right? So you can do that, and you can also mix and match. So let us say you can use strong and del itself, like you can nest the elements also. So this was basic formatting where you can learn it, and also important thing is that, see, you have this exercise part, right? So you say, add an extra important to the word degradation in the paragraph below. So I have WWF's mission is to stop the blank degradation, that blank of our planet's natural environment. So how I can make sure that this word is important? We have seen, to make the word important, we want strong. See, there is no more space. That means basically it is right, or we can also submit an answer and check. So if I say strong, right? So I can submit the answer and check. Submit, it is correct, right? So what you guys can do is you can go to this W3 schools and read some of the important information if you are not getting the concepts clearly. Like some people are having some difficulties. You guys can go through this website as well as read it, like you will be reading your notes. You can try for yourself. Environment will be same for all of you. Like, so if there is any problem you are facing, you guys can work together as well, like ask me, because environment will be same for me. I can see what the problem is as well as help you, right? So second will be, you can also do the exercises. Now the point of doing exercises is that if you are doing exercises, then only you will be able to remember what are these tags, because remembering this tag is really hard thing, right? So if you are having some kind of practice, if this exercises is making you think, you will be able to, like, let us say in future you want to make sure you have a question where you want to make the particular line or particular word strong. You have already practiced it here, so it will become really easy for you to like follow along or recall what you have studied. Second is HTML quotation, basically. So we have what you call various type of quotation. Like in a book, you might have seen a site, that is CITV, where you can cite a particular, let us say, author or particular book name or particular whatever reference you want to give. Basically, if you have read some kind of research paper, you will see there are a lot of citations, right? So we can do that also. We can also provide an address, but there is one thing that I would like to tell you about addresses. That is, yeah. So in addresses, you can't like just start address, write address, and then go to next line. You have to add BR tag to get some information on the new line. So keep this in mind, right? Second is for the citation, I can say like the stream is been cited. So if it is again inline, so you have this artwork where you can see that the stream has been cited, and then by Edward Munch, and then printed in 1893. It's same as like how you want to print it. Now we also have a bidirectional text. So let us say you have a language that reads from right to left. That is, I think Urdu reads from right to left. So if you can say, try for yourself, then THIS, you are like reading it from the right side. You can read it like THIS. Like this line will be like I'm just reading it from right to left, then I can read it, right? So you can also do that. We have BDO top tag for it, and then you can also specify the direction, that is right to left, as well as you can specify the direction, like I think Chinese or Korean is from top to bottom, right? Now, I'm not really sure, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they are from top to bottom. Then you can also specify that also. So this was the basic formatting and quotation that you guys should know when you are formatting the text. We have HTML comment. So there is only single line comment. If you guys have worked with the, let us say, Python or PHP something, you guys can see that there are multi-line comments, right? But in HTML, we only have a single line comment, but you can use the same comment strategy, like the same comment, I can say syntax, to create multi-line text also. So a multi-line comment also. So you can say, try for yourself. I have this. This is a comment. This will not be rendered to the end user, right? I can write anything. I can go to next line and I can say, this is comment continue. right? And if I run it, it will not be visible, but it will be of a different color, like slightly green or gray, so that I can't render it. But if you like check the code, you will be able to see that this is available there. So that if let us say you are working on a code, you have commented it, and your friend is also working on the same code, your colleague, then they can also read the comment and know the, let us say you have explained the functionality of a function or a class that you have written, then you can add a comment by explaining what it does, and the other developer will also be able to read it, and it will also not change the overall functionality of a code. This is just for the your own purposes, so that you can know it and you can help other developers understand what code you have written. Okay, so basically CSS, HTML, CSS, and colors will be covered by we will be covering tomorrow. For the images and link we have covered, we have image tag as well as the link tag. Next is fav icon that I wanted to show that I had forgotten. So fav icon is basically, you can see that it says the HTML tutorial, but there is a small icon. See, there is icon available on my tab also in the browser. So you can say link rel icon type. Now, if you have type file type is .ico, then you need to specify x.ico. But if you have a PNG file or JPG file, you can say image JPG and then favicon.jpg or favicon.png. Although this is online, so we cannot upload our own PNG. But tomorrow, when I will taking the session, I will make sure that I have downloaded icon so that I can show to how to show the fav icon of your email. Because if you don't have a fav icon, later when we are working on the backend, we will be seeing that your overall the web browser will complain that there is no fav icon, right? So fav icon is important, so I will show you how to add it when we will be working in a backend. Also, you can see if the file format is supported or not. Basically, you can see ICO, PNG, GIF, JPEG, and SVG are formatted supported by mostly like all the web browser that we have. Right. Even if you are on the Linux and you have like Qt-based browser, or let us say web GTK, yeah, they will be available there also. So you don't have to worry about that. They are basically you can use it, and it is also recommended that you use ICO, PNG, GIF, JPG, or SVG. And if you have an image that we saw that image tag is there, right? So in the image tag, try to use, I would say, WebP. That is a new specified standard of image, or let us say media that we have created by Google, Adobe, and all the big companies that are being supported by them. And the quality is really great, but the size is really small. So you guys can explore on that, what is WebP format. Yeah, you can see is a modern image format that provides superior lossless and lossy compression for images for the web. This is type specifically created for the web. So you guys should see what they are. Like you can see that WebP uses image at 26% smaller in size compared to PNG. Right. This makes overall loading of your website really fast. If you have a lot of images, the overall loading will become really fast for your end user, right? You want to make sure that your end user has getting the most performance from your website, right? Because you can see that in news, you will see that there has been recent cases that people are not waiting on website for more than 5 seconds, right? So you want to make sure that your website is being loaded in 5 seconds. Okay, so second is we have seen what is page title. We see that we can use title tag. Now, important thing is HTML tables. Okay, so we have an example where, so you can use a table tag to create a table, and then how table are rendered at. So every time there is a table tag, it renders a table. Table works different than division tag that creates a various div and takes entire space of that row. How table are different is that whatever information you have in the table, they try to change the behavior by itself. Whereas in div, or in span, you have to change the behavior by using HTML and CSS. So table is like good for this kind of thing. So let us say if I just see if I'm changing the size of table. Now I have this table, the space is changing between the columns. Whereas in div, if I don't do it, then see if I'm like making it too small, this the content is on the next line. This is the default behavior of a table. That is why we use table for various things where we want to show the particular value in a tabular format instead of showing a div, right? Also, tables are rendered based on the row. So first you have to write the row for the company, contact, and country, right? So you have to write this row, and after that you have to specify the data for this particular row. Yeah, so you have this TR, that is table row, and then you have this table heading. So company, contact, you can see they are slightly bold. Then other information, that is because we are using table head tag. That is specifying that this is the head of table. After our head is done, we need to specify another table row, which will be table row and which will have some data. Now the data will be, so Alfred, then Maria Anders, and then Germany, right? So this is how we are populating the table. We are not like, populating the table how we used to do in the Microsoft Excel. We are populating based on the content. So we have a row, then in that row only, we are populating all the content. Then we are going to the next row, populating all the content. Then we are going to the third row, populating all the content. I hope that this has been understood by you, that whenever you are creating a table, you have to create a table. You have to create the table heading, table row, populate that entire row, and then create the new row, and then populate it, right? So that is how you will be working with the tables. Next, we have like table borders. So table border is basically you have to, it is basically we are using CSS property. We will see what this is tomorrow. Then we have table size. We can specify the size. Again, this table's size, padding, spacing. This is all the CSS properties that we are using. We will see them tomorrow. In more in depth, we will be working on how to make our website look pretty, look good. Then we have the list, that how to create a list item, right? So there are three types of list mainly. One is unordered and another is ordered, as well as we have other type of list also that I have used in like to show. Like I had seen this DL tag and then the DT tag and the DD tag, right? So this is also one of the type. Another is unordered list. In the unordered list, I can basically it tells the browser that we don't have a specific order. We just want some ingredient. Let us say I'm trying to make a recipe. Then I don't want to specify an order of ingredient. I want to specify order in the instruction, right? So I can have a UL for ingredient and a OL, that is order list, for my instruction. And again, for other type of list that I have, I can use the DL tag or the DT tag. So DL tag defines the description list, DT tag defines the term name, and the DT tag decides the each term, what those terms are. So after list, another important thing that I wanted to talk about is the HTML forms. Right, so in the HTML form, you can see that we have multiple things. So just to go over, if I just click on try to submit. So what happens is, let us say I have a form, right? There will be a label like what that input is, and then there will be actual input content. Then we will have a new label for the new content, and then we will have a submit button, right? All of this should be included in a form element. There is also another way to get form. What we can use is we can use backend services like PHP to make request using REST API, so that we can send the information to the backend. Here you can see we have form action equal to action underscore page dot PHP. If you are seeing the code, let me highlight it. Right. So now this form information will be sent to action page PHP. But if we are not using form, you can use some backend services like REST API to send the data to the backend, right? But for now, in the form, this is really important. When you are creating the login form, you want to use login form because browser does some kind of validation by itself so that your form is more secure, right? So that is why you want to use form, and they are recommended. But there are also other way, as I said, you can use REST API and you can use JavaScript to interactively or like automatically validate the data that your user is being putting. So we have a label item, right? Label item will have for will be like for which element, for which input. We have multiple input, right? So input number 1, input number 2, as well as input number 3. So for which input, each input will have name. So this name is F name. I believe this stands for the first name. So this label is for the first name, right? So again, when there is a screen reader that is reading your data, like from text to speech, for like some kind of person who is not able to read, they will first read label for the first name, because they know that F name for is F name, and the F name, the name F name is for the input text, right? Then they will specify that this is input. Let me know what the input is, right? So this is again for accessibility point of view. This is really important that you are including name and as well as font, right? So that it is make more sense. Again, so I just wanted to say that we will be learning more about forms, like we will have hands-on experience on form when we will be working with the login form, like we will be creating the login for our user, as I said, for the food delivery application, as well as other application that we will be making in the PHP itself. So for today onwards, I would just like to make a quick review of what we went through. So we first looked at basics of UI design. This already I believe 355, so I can say that let's look at the what I can recall is basically we talked about the UI design part. So in UI design, we saw that there is a navigation bar, basically in all the modern websites that are being created. Then there is maybe another second navigation bar. Some navigation bar are sticky, so they will be always available. We can use like make them sticky by using the G index that we'll be learning tomorrow. How to keep an element on the window or on the document while your entire document is scrolling. You will see. Then there may be a sidebar. In the Discord, you must have seen there is an option of server where you can click on each server. So that is the sidebar. And then you have the main content. That was the UI design part. And our UI design for the food delivery that we will be creating tomorrow will be similar to that. We will also have a navigation bar as well as a sidebar for whatever I can say shopping cart we have, as well as we will be having a particular section for the food, right? On JavaScript part, we will be having interactivity part. For the HTML, I believe we studied what H1 to H6 tag, P tag, link tag, as well as image tag, as well as various quotation tags and various formatting tag like B tag and strong tag, emphasis tag and italic tag, subscript, superscript and delete tag. And we also looked at various like how to make comment like video tag from right to left, as well as we saw how to make comments in HTML. And we have also looked at how to create a fav icon as well as a title to the web page. We also saw the structure of a HTML, that is from head tag, doc type, as well as the body, how the search engines see the various metadata, how they render those metadata and use those metadata to link your website on a search engine. As well as we tomorrow we will be seeing like classes and ID. Today we saw the block and inline content, as well as tomorrow when we will be having the hands-on experience, guys will be able to understand really well. Because see, it is not possible to have this all the content cover this content in just 2 hours. So that is why we will be following the project-based approach, where we will be creating a project and I will be giving you basic information on those tags as well as any other tags that I can recall, so that you guys can make your basics really strong. And when you will be working on a project, you guys can recall these things and create your own website really quickly, as well as create a website that can be delivered to a client. So again, we saw the forms as well as we saw the tables. So for today, this is enough. tomorrow we will see how to use these tags in action, as well as we will be saying how to use things like CSS framework as well as CSS to make our website, like, from this simple tags, how we can make a website that can be delivered to the client, right? So we will be seeing that tomorrow. So, sir, I believe we can
Yeah.
stop here. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Yes, okay, thank you so much for your time. Okay.
Yeah.
And